Alright, welcome back everyone. We've got another culprit. Did he pick that one up, Dave? What's that, HP? Not yet? Alright, so first and foremost, this is the one that would display only to the internal LCD. So let's make a note. These are the ones that would give me trouble the other day. We actually got display to the external. Let's clean that while we're at it, if the battery's not dead. And it is. And there we go. Alright, starting up. It's the one that was stuck, motherboard replaced, and now it is working with the internal. The problem was, though, I made a note, I think on Facebook, about it, and in the actual video itself, having I called it a touchscreen connector, and it wasn't. It was the webcam connector. They make two different display cables, one where the webcam connector is in with the LCD connector, and then one where it's separate when it gets to the motherboard. And I said there was only one part. There's the, I think, 3 parts. But yes, as you can see, we're going to hit no buttons, but we do have internal display, and that was the whole issue with it there. Sorting that out, let's get to the next culprit. Power off. Whoa, we don't want to beat up the camera. Alright, the victim on the slab today has a unique story. I think the guy told us both the same thing, and that was that a screw came loose. Let's go over to this. We can see a little better. Right here, we got a screw that came loose, and it quit charging. Now, first of all, let's see if that's the case. We have the power plugged in. We're going to grab our multimeter and check the AC adapter first and foremost before we even turn any screws on the thing. And indeed we do. We got 19 point. Well, it jumps all around, depends how much you move it, where you move it to. Alright, 19.2 something or other volts. 19.28. So we're good there with the AC adapters putting power out. Now we start with the computer. I do believe this gentleman said this battery is no good, but we'll check that as well. Let's see if there's any charge in it at the moment. Oh, well that's no good. I just lost the power lead. Alright, time to upgrade to the new ones. A little longer, a lot pointier, so. Shop's falling down, man, watch out. Boy, I don't know if these are skinny enough to get in there. We may have to fix that other lead or jam something in here. So we're getting very little in way of voltage coming out of this thing. Little to nothing. So I'm going to say it's no good. We'll still take a look and see, will it charge or give us any type of result. Let's find our lights. Okay, so we have some lights here on the front. When we plug in, oh, okay, so this thing physically, when you plug it in, you can't even get to it. There's no jack to plug into, so let's open it up and see what happened to the DC jack. Did it break out of place? Did that screw coming loose let the hinge break the plastic internally? This is going to be a fun one. We may be getting the epoxy out, or possibly talk them into ordering a new bottom case. That's generally what is responsible for holding your DC jack in Toshiba's, HP's, most laptops. As usual, we're going to put this back now. Give me a moment. This is really throwing me. I need to... Where do we want it? Manual? We'll do that. Okay. I still have to adjust this because it doesn't represent what I'm looking at. When we flipped horizontal. Yes, now we need to flip vertical. And transform, flip horizontal. Nope, not vertical. Undo. Alright, let's reset. Alright, that represents what I'm looking at, and I'm less lost. It's goofy when you're trying to do this, and you move your hands and they're moving opposite of what you're seeing when you try to monitor it. Alright, screws back in with the ROM. Continuing on, we need to open this thing up. and check out the situation with our DC jack, what happened. Alright, that's still running there. Give me 1 second here. We really gotta fix this. Manual. We're gonna leave it set. We're gonna see if it does the get bright and get dark, get bright and get dark on manual. Some setting for whatever I had it at wasn't working out. Usually, generally, whenever you lose a screw on the bottom of the laptop, you're generally okay. If it's one of the ones that's hinge side, especially on the corners, those ones are usually responsible for holding the hinge in place, and when you open and close it without the hinge being tied down in place, fastened in place with the proper amount of screws, that hinge is usually pretty tough. It has to hold the weight of the screen and resist gravity, whatnot, so the hinge is usually pretty tough and it will move around and break stuff internally. If you lose one in the corners, try and get a replacement for it. Let's move on. Take a second look. Make sure we did indeed pull the screws needed. We have 1, 2 left over. Wait, 1, not 2. Alright. Now we're going to open this without hopefully breaking anything further. We're going to try and hold it shut. We need to pull that keyboard. Let's try a plastic tool first, and then we'll go over to the metal. It actually doesn't look like it's coming out. We'll see. I don't think it does. Not that one, it will be... Some of these models do have screws under the hard drive, and until you try to pull it apart, you're never really sure, unless you've done a lot of them. Holding everything together still. So now it should release this bottom without much more effort. do it. Okay. So here is the situation. We'll take a closer look. Our hinge is indeed broke loose. That was one of the screws responsible for holding it, and there are a few more that came loose. It looks like one of them goes through the corner, and then we need another one here. We're going to go ahead and try and put that in, see if it'll hold it. And then also the DC jack is broken completely loose right there. Probably due to the flexing of opening it, and then when it, here, let's open this up, and then when I went to close it and it flexed everything, it let that pop out. We're going to try and see how it's going to behave. We're going to pull this screw from this side to see how long of a screw we actually need. Not very big. We can actually find one that size. Let's compare the two. A little bit longer. We got to go slightly shorter. We have a few threads of difference. Let's find a shorter one yet. One of these couple should be in the neighborhood. Looks good. Let's try it. See what happens. Oh, that's a safety screw. Never mind. We need an actual Phillips. Okay, we have a Phillips. Roughly the same size and make. Possibly out of a Toshiba in the past. We won't know. It does thread in. It does hold. It is tying that hinge down. And then we'll get another one that matches these here. Oh. So we have another point that's broken right here where it won't fasten down, and that is on the corner. Let's check this side as well to make sure. This fastens down, and this one tightens down, and this one does not. Actually, I don't even think it comes out. No. Alright, we're going to open it up to lift the hinge and then let it drop. Yeah, there's the screw that came out internally, and then we have this little grommet here. It's like a little, that part there, that brass goes in where it's broken there. We're going to super glue that real quick if we have any super glue that still exists and isn't rock hard. see what we can do about this piece here. Does need glued back in place. I don't know. We do have some wet glue, so let's try it. Glue it back in place and possibly hot glue around it. In most cases, what you want is a new bottom case. That will be your best result. If this holds, we will let him know what we did, and if he wants to order a new one, well then we can go ahead and get that done as well. Actually, that whole piece is broken, so that's where this generally fails. You try gluing a piece and it just snaps again. When you run into plastic doing that, it's time for, generally time for a new, I guess it would be top case in this instance. I was saying bottom. Yeah, that's completely done. You want to look up a part, or you want me to? What's that? It's not a hinge, it's a top case for this laptop. What's that? Yeah. I'm gonna look it up quick. Okay. Let's hop on over to the LCD. Here's what we're looking at. Top case, Toshiba. What was this thing? I even forget, and I just started it. C55t.
Alright, man. I'll see you later on.
Later.
Have a good night.
Oh yeah. A5123 top case. Is that armrest? So about 5320. This is just pulling up the first result we found. Yeah, not a great price for such an old laptop. I wouldn't recommend it. What we can try, and probably is going to fail miserably. The plastic is broken to bits. Epoxy holds. The goal is to get the guy so he doesn't end up in this situation again, right? Epoxy may hold that little grommet in place. Generally, like I said, you replace the top case. I'm not a psychic, but I'm guessing no, he's not going to want to. He wants to put nothing into as little as possible into it. But I'm going to call with the price on it to let him know, and we're going to see if these two screws will hold it for the time being. So we have the one that's here, and then the one that goes through the bottom case up into the hinge to the mount point. Will that be enough? I don't know. Let's check the DC jack functionality while here. Is it going to push in again? More than likely not, unless this hinge breaks loose and flexes the plastic to let this pop in. Let's put this back together and see how it goes. Let him know if he can get by without it. It's likely to happen again, but also buying an old part like that, even if new, most of the time the parts aren't made recently. They're just old leftover stock, and they'll be old brittle plastic. Toshiba, I want to say, has given, I've just seen a hard time with Toshiba parts to where you order it in like a new top lid for an LCD, and the hinge pulls out of it, you order a new one in, put the display, the hinge, everything in. First time you open it, those grommets break out of the plastic. It's usually generally not worth replacing the plastics on something so old. Let's see if these hinges seem like they're going to work though. We are missing one, so we're going to pair one of these up. And we have roughly the same size there. And see if it threads in and ties down. Is there anything to hold it together? It would appear there is. We will shop around, trying to find if he wants to go that route. But like I said, generally it's a failed mission. The plastic's old and brittle and it just breaks super easy. Sometimes you luck out though and you get one that doesn't. Personally, for me, fixing computers that are beyond, like, I'm gonna say 4 to 6 years old, and this is strictly opinion, you're running the risk of running into the same problem or many more once they get to a certain age. Finish up the day and go do the day job. Also, with the jack, DC jack being back in place, we get to now see if when we plug it in to the AC adapter and have the battery plugged in, will the battery charge and will it keep that charge now that it's getting power? I'm guessing why it's so dead is when that broke loose, they probably didn't notice it and ran it completely dead on battery. That bit of super glue that's in there also is going to hit our hinge. When we flip this, it's possibly going to hit the hinge, or not possibly, it should, if it's not dry. If there's anything that does drip, it'll drip hopefully onto that grommet. If not, we'll loosen it up next time we tear it down, if we're replacing it to retrieve that. This will work for a while, but no guarantees on it's going to last the life of the computer, now that it has 2 screws versus just 1. Wow, we've got broken plastic all over the place. It's time for a new one. Time for a new one. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But when it's breaking down, get a new one. Let's find out if our battery is going to get any power to it when we plug in. Well, it shows that it is plugged in. The charge light is on. We don't have a light on this side, not like an HP or anything, but where our charge light is on. Let's see if we can power it up. It is opening like normal, but you can feel a slight difference from one side to the other just upon opening it. One is a little stiffer. We will hunt down a new top case for the best price possible. Let him know, and that's that. I think we're gonna end it here. Like I said, it is time to clean up. 4:35. We're gonna head to the day job at night. Go take dinner to some people. Hopefully, Heritage Days is happening. If you're local, you'll know what kind of little festival that is. And we got some cleanup to do on this thing. Password 62. Let's try and type this password in. Alright, we're up to a desktop. Port is on the battery. 11% available, plugged in, charging. So we'll leave this plugged in overnight. We're going to remove, oh, we did move it. Alright, that should be that. We'll flip over to something bigger. Better view. Get the cameras out of the way for today. Run that through there. And anyhow, thanks for checking this out. Sorry about the 2-day pause, the update with the HP that was booting but not booting. It was due to the display cable. Like I said, there's a model that has the webcam wire is wired in with the display cable, but it's split where it hits the motherboard and split for the camera and the LED panel. And then there's one where the webcam is wired right into the LED. Only when it gets up into the display, behind the display, does it split and go up to the webcam, and then to the other end to the LED panel or LCD panel. See if this charges. We'll check back on this tomorrow. But yeah, have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. If you fix this stuff, cool, keep it up, share it, spread it. If somebody needs help, give them a hand. And thank you for watching. I do appreciate it.